Welcome to Dark Knight Films Reviews. I'm your host, Matt Spease, and today we're doing another ranking video, this time for 1980s action films. Now, this list will only consist of strictly action films. There will be no action films with sci-fi elements, action films with horror elements, action films with buddy cop features to them. These will be just strictly, no martial arts, strictly martial arts films, and no superhero films. This is just straight action films. Now, before I get to the list, if you have your own opinions and your own rankings on action, please comment down below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because it really does help this channel out a lot. So, let's get to the opening of the list. Starting at number 10, we have Red Scorpion from 1988. This was Dolph Lundgren's first big solo film after making a big name for himself as Ivan Drago in Rocky IV. This film, in which he plays a Russian Spetsnaz agent who rebels against his Russian commanders in favor of helping this group of people that are being condemned by the Russians, is very unique and interesting, and it was a really fun solo project for Dolph to make him, and it kind of made him move from being the villain, playing a Russian in one film, which is Rocky IV, and play a sympathetic character in Red Scorpion. So that is my number 10. Coming in at number 9, we have Streets of Fire from 1984. Streets of Fire stars Michael Pare, Diane Lane, Willem Dafoe, Rick Moranis. You would have never suspected that Rick Moranis would be alongside all of those people, but he does really well in this film, playing the sleazy little agent for Diane Lane's character. This film is one of Walter Hill's lesser known films, but it needs to be on a list like this because it is a truly great cinematic film. Most people would just call it a big music video because he had a lot of music video elements to it. And Ellen Aim, Diane Lane's character, is basically a singer, so there's a lot of music numbers in there when she's performing and stuff. So, but it's a love story at the same time in which Michael Pare's character of Cody is coming back into town to go after Ellen after she's kidnapped by Willem Dafoe's bad guy. And Willem Dafoe plays a bad guy in this, like he always does. I mean, Willem Dafoe's always great. But in this film, playing this villain, I mean, this is the movie that put him in people's eyes and made them think, well, he is pretty badass. So that is number 9. Number 8, Escape from New York from 1981. The film in which John Carpenter made Kurt Russell go from a Disney actor to a total badass action star. Who'd have thunk it? Looking back on it now, we know that Kurt Russell is excellent at anything he does. And action films, he really excels at. And this one, playing Snake Plissken, is one of his most iconic. He is excellent. And then, of course, you have Lee Van Cleef as the character that gets him put into this position, puts the watch on him that is will cause, if he tries to defy them, it's supposed to cause him to it'll self-destruct or kill him or something, but he's sent in to try and save the president, played by Donald Pleasance, excellently played by Donald Pleasance. Great film by John Carpenter in his first foray into action. Coming in at number 7, The Road Warrior from 1981. Mel Gibson had made his big debut, basically, in people's minds with Mad Max. This was the follow-up, and I don't think it ever got any better than this one. I mean, we had Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome with Tina Turner as the antagonist, and it just didn't it wasn't as good as The Road Warrior. The Road Warrior is so over the top and so great as far as the action sequences, and Mel Gibson's portrayal here is excellent as Max. A man of, almost like the previous with Escape from New York, the character is like a man of few words, but when he speaks, you listen. So that's my number 7. Coming in at number 6, we have Lone Wolf McQuade from 1983. This film starred Chuck Norris as Lone Wolf McQuade, and I think it was one of his best acted, best portrayed roles that he ever did. A lot of people say that Chuck Norris can't act. Well, I direct them toward Lone Wolf McQuade to prove that, yes, if given a good script and a good director directing him, he can be a pretty damn good actor. And in this film, he has a great villain to go against, played by David Carradine. He has a great leading lady, Barbara Carrera.
I understand you're very good with your hands and feet.
Pretty good.
Rod was all-European karate champion.
Is that right?
Ranger Brown, Sally, Ranger McQuade was especially nice.
And of course, he has a cool sidekick partner, for a while at least, in L.Q. Jones, the old Texas Ranger from the past.
No, you don't play cards, you play people.
Loose lips sink ships.
You understand?
I thought you would, yeah.
I really do think that Walker, Texas Ranger, was basically intended to be a spin-off of Lone Wolf McQuade. But I think the TV networks probably got a little cold feet because they knew that it would be more adult and more violent because the movie was violent. And they decided to just make him a different character altogether. But you can definitely see the connections between the two characters, even though they did tone it down for TV. And I just wish it would have been a Lone Wolf McQuade TV series instead. And with the streaming services of today and the different channels we have now, it could have easily been as violent as Lone Wolf McQuade was and be a big spin-off series with Chuck Norris returning to the role. But alas, it didn't happen. Coming in at number 5 is Beverly Hills Cop from 1984. Beverly Hills Cop was the film that made Eddie Murphy an action hero. Prior to this, he had done mostly comedies, and the closest he came to being action hero was in 48 Hours. In this, he was the leading man, and he was a total wisecracking badass. And he played it really well. You would have never thought that casting him in this role would have worked, but it did. And it's not just him either. He has a great supporting cast with Judge Reinhold, John Ashton.
Police! You're all under arrest!
You do that again, I'll shoot you myself.
You have a cool character in which, the Beverly Hills main man in charge is Ronnie Cox. He's in charge of Judge Reinhold and John Ashton. And then you have villains such as Jonathan Banks and Stephen Burkoff.
Get the fuck away from me, man. That's very good, Victor. Could you, teach him to roll over and sit and do all that shit, too?
I mean, this movie was great as far as the performances and the action sequences that they did, and it's got a good plot. There's a reason for everything that happens, and it is so well done. So that is my number 5. Coming in at number 4, we have Rambo, First Blood Part 2 from 1985. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, why are you going with Rambo, First Blood Part 2 instead of First Blood? Well, I don't really consider First Blood a strictly action film. It is more of a drama. It's a quite different film than Rambo. Rambo was where the series became more of an action film. So it belongs on this list for sure. Stallone turns this character, totally badass in this film. The montage scene in which he's preparing has been parodied so many times since then. And unfairly, really, because it was such an iconic scene, and it shouldn't have been made light of since then. But his big action sequences in this film, where he goes in to rescue these POWs, is just, it is a really cool action film in which he overcomes his PTSD and goes in there to rescue. And then is betrayed by Crease himself, Martin Cove.
Glad you made it!
And there's Charles Napier playing the sleazy politician kind of guy in there is really good in his role as well.
Rambo, this is Murdoch. We're glad you're alive. Where are you? Give us your position and we'll come to pick you up.
Murdoch. I'm coming to get you.
He really makes you hate him. But great film. Coming in at number 3 is Commando, again from 1985. Commando is where Arnold Schwarzenegger showed that he can be more than the Terminator and Conan the Barbarian. In this film, playing Matrix, he is so fun with his one-liners and, you know, action, the way he responds to the action, and he shows a softer side because the reason he's doing all this action is to save his daughter, played by Alyssa Milano, in one of her first roles ever in film. But this film is great. You have David Patrick Kelly playing this sleazy character of Sully, and has one of the most famous scenes for a film of this kind.
You remember, Sally, when I promised to kill you last?
That's right, Major. You did.
I lied.
As you can see, that's great. And Vernon Wells, who was a main baddie in The Road Warrior, which was number 7 on my list, is playing an equally badass character in this one. And the final fight between Matrix and him is epic. It is a great final fight. Matrix and Bennett going one-on-one. You can't get any better than that. Great film. Number 2. We're in the final 2. And what is number 2? Die Hard from 1988. This is the film that made Bruce Willis an action hero, much like the way Beverly Hills Cop made Eddie Murphy an action hero. Die Hard did the same thing for... It's funny how the connections between Eddie Murphy and Bruce Willis, I mean, they both started off more funny guys, you know, kind of comedian guys, and ended up becoming, you know, action hero kind of characters due to the fact that, you know, Eddie Murphy was in 48 Hours and Beverly Hills Cop, and here you got Bruce Willis with Die Hard. And you cannot top the villain we get here, with Alan Rickman as the villain, with Alexander Godunov as his main henchman. Oh.
Just another American who saw too many movies as a child. Another orphan of a bankrupt culture who thinks he's John Wayne, Rambo, Marshall Dillon.
I was always kind of partial to Roy Rogers, actually. I really like those sequin shirts.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
If you listen to me, he would be neutralized already.
I don't want neutral, I want dead.
Bonnie Bedelia as John McClane's wife in this. She is so good in this too. And who could forget Hart Buckner, his sleazy character, who unfortunately doesn't last too long.
The guy upstairs is fucking things up, huh? I can give him to you.
But that is my number 2. So, number 1. What is number 1 if all of these other movies are under this one? What is it? What is the best action film, in my opinion, on this list? Number 1 is Roadhouse from 1989. Patrick Swayze. Before this, yes, he was in Red Dawn. Yes, he was in The Outsiders. Yes, he was in Dirty Dancing. But this is where he cemented himself as an action hero. And the co-stars that he has in this with Sam Elliott.
Aren't you guys tired?
Doc, I'll get all the sleep I need when I'm dead.
Kelly Lynch.
How does a guy like you end up a bouncer?
Just lucky, I guess.
That line of work, I thought you'd be bigger.
Gee, I've never heard that before.
Ben Gazzara.
I guess you'll be having that fire sale now, all right?
Marshall Teague. In one of the best fight sequences ever in cinema history.
Prepare to die. You are such an asshole. I used to fuck guys like you in prison.
I mean, this movie is just gold as far as action. Then you have the Jeff Healey band in there playing in the Double Deuce in there. I mean, this movie, the writing on the dialogue, the writing, the acting, the portrayal of Ben Gazzara as the sleazy asshole that runs the town. This is basically a old school Western style story brought into modern day times. And it works so well. It works so well. Patrick Swayze's Dalton is one of the coolest and most badass characters ever in film.
If somebody gets in your face, I want you to be nice.
Don't be rude.
Ask him to walk, but be nice.
Help this gentleman to the door.
Until it's time to not be nice.
So says the fighting philosopher.
And even as great as John McClane was in Die Hard and John Matrix was in Commando, and as great as John Rambo was in First Blood, and as great as Axel Foley was in Beverly Hills Cop, and so on, they all pale in comparison to Dalton. So, do you agree with my list? If you like my list and agree with this, please comment down below. And if you disagree with my list and you want to list your own list down below of what you think are the top 80s action films. Now remember, you can only list one film per series. That's why I had to put Rambo First Blood Part 2 instead of First Blood. Plus, I consider First Blood a drama. Like I said, it's more of a dramatic film. So, Let me know what you think. If you liked my ranking video here, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And let me know if you are enjoying these ranking videos, and I'll keep turning them out. Thanks for watching.